Hi, Alice. How are you, bud?
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Love the backdrop. You doing well?
Oh yeah, I'm doing really, really good. We're in Arizona where it's, 80 degrees. So
You're
I'm
rubbing it in now. Why are you doing that to us? Okay.
from East Detroit. I understand.
Yeah, you are. Of course, Saturday night here on CSX, starting at 6 p.m. We'll be broadcasting your Halloween special. Cannot wait. We're so pumped about this, dude. And we've been doing a lot of exploring around Detroit recently. I don't know if you know this, of like haunted places in the Motor City. It was really cool. Like we went to over to Northville. Did
Ah,
you ever did you ever go in the tunnels back in the day? Did you
no,
avoid
no, I didn't even know about the tunnels in Northville.
at the asylum? And then Eloise, of course.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
Eloise, a lot of haunted
The
places.
tun- There's something there could be an album about the tunnels.
Oh my God, yeah. And Eloise, though, we have so many people that are obsessed with Eloise and stuff, and we've thought about you out there, Alice. Man, I mean, there's some spooky places here. I mean, maybe not so much as the barn out in Pontiac you guys used to work at, but still, there's some scary places here.
Yeah, that place is well, the East Town. How about the East Town or the Grandy? There's got to be a lot of ghosts in there.
You know what? We have these Detroit paranormal people, and you're right. Why have we never gone to the Grandy?
Oh my
We've never
God.
gone to the Grandy to look for ghosts.
The East Town and the Grandy, or I mean, those were the. I used to go to the East Town when I lived in East Detroit to go to the movies on Saturday. I used to go when I was 10 years old. I used to go there to see the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and there would be three horror movies in black and white on Saturday. And I mean that's where I lived on Saturday. And
That was
then I
really
ended up coming back to Detroit, and that's where we're playing with the Stooges and the MC5. You know,
And so now trick or treating for you as a kid in the Motor City were you that they dress you up as a hobo? Did you go big in costumes? What was the vibe when you were a kid?
I was always Zorro.
Zorro,
I was
that's an
always
easy
Zorro.
costume.
Yeah, well, it was, I had a little mustache and the black mask and the sword. And that even ended up being in the show. It ended up later on where I actually use a rapier sword like that, a dueling sword, but it was Errol Flynn's sword. And then not Tyrone Power, who played Zorro,
Okay.
in the movie. But that swashbuckling thing kind of ended up as one of Alice's characters.
I love that. My grandma used to just take a piece of a charcoal briquette and put dirt on my face and then dress me up as a hobo and kick me out the door with a
Well,
pillowcase.
she saw something coming.
Hey, no one's figured that out yet, Alice. Don't tip them off on that, man. Too much.
Hey,
So
by the
what?
way, before we get to anything else, congratulations on your support of the veterans.
Oh,
I am way, way, way into that whole thing. I love the idea that you're really doing something right there about that.
hey, I spent 8 years in the Navy. I was in the Submarine Service, believe it or not, way back when. My dad served in Korea, and I've got family members and friends, and what I went through, and I look at what the men and women today in the military are dealing with when they come home. Dude,
Yeah,
if you can do anything to help them and say thank you, then
I'm all over that too. My dad and all my uncles were all Pearl Harbor. They
you
were
never
all
do that.
Yeah, they were all Navy. Yeah.
And did they ever talk about it, or it was always
Oh
a
yeah.
thing where the generation, but it was like they were forthcoming about what went down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they talked about it. They were tough guys. They were like Damon Runyon guys.
My dad would talk about Korea, and then he would tell me stories about being a ranger, and then he would say one day they looked at him and said, "I think we're in China." And I remember him telling that story and laughing. I'm like, we weren't scared." He goes, "Nah, I was too young to be scared. It was I didn't know." But thank you. And then also thank you for your support. We're doing Glen Fry Day. Next Friday is Glen's birthday, and we got it passed by the city of Royal Oak. So we're going to celebrate his birthday.
All my relatives still live in Royal Oak.
Well, I'll be there on the 6th. Tell them to come on by Glen Fry Drive, right by Don Darrow.
That's
So yeah, we'll be
well,
broadcasting.
I'm kind of looking forward to an Alice Cooper public bathroom. No, in all honesty, an Alice Cooper High School is obvious. School's out. I mean, there should be an Alice Cooper High School somewhere. I mean, they've got their theme song right there, already written.
Yeah, you're writing the script for us here. I honestly thought that if we're going to do a street for you, and we should do one here in the Motor City, I keep thinking Eloise, just because the
Yeah.
scary nature
Oh,
of something.
absolutely, absolutely. Make it the Halloween special. That's yeah.
Well, there you go. Okay, we're doing some planning here while we're checking the special out. So other than your Halloween themed music, which is so many great songs, Are there songs that you love that are Halloween, rock and otherwise, that you love to play?
Yeah, I don't think when you hear Tubular Bells, does that not send a chill up your spine? Because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
thinking, Linda Blair, The Exorcist, the scariest movie of all time. I mean, obviously the scariest movie. And also John Carpenter's Halloween, theme from Halloween. That's another one that you can't get away from. You hear that and you immediately tense up, because you're thinking of Michael Myers standing there, who had absolutely no emotion about when he would kill people. He would just no emotion behind it. That's what made it so scary.
I always love listening to the lyrics of Werewolves in London, Werewolves of London, because it really is like a dark song. I mean, he's killing people all over town, and you're like, oh, I wonder if he likes Chinese food. You're going, wow.
His hair was perfect, though.
Right, it was fun, man. When you're writing some of the Halloween songs you've done, some of the, Welcome to My Nightmare and stuff like that, is that a intentional thing where like you're going to sit, okay, today, Tuesday, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write this, or is this just the muse speaks to you?
No, when we did Nightmare, I thought what a great idea this would be. I've always thought that rock and roll, horror, and comedy were in bed together. They all needed to be in bed together, and that kind of what born Alice Cooper. That's how Alice Cooper was born out of that. Because it was scary. It was certainly something that the parents did not want to see at the time, because it was glamorous, it was shocking, and it was fun. But then when you looked at it, it was this sort of dark burlesque kind of vaudeville, but the hard rock was what really was driving it. The Detroit hard rock, guitar rock. So all those things put into bed. If you give me a theme, if I came up with a theme like Welcome to My Nightmare, then I said, well, what is this? It's about a kid that can't wake up. He's in a nightmare and he can't wake up, but he can hear his mother calling, but he still can't wake up. So what can happen in this nightmare? Anything, because nightmares don't have to make sense. That's the thing about them, is that they don't make any sense at all. When you wake up and you go, and then I was building a go-kart with my biology teacher, and what? That never happened. But when I do, if I'm going to write something intentional, like we wrote for Friday the 13th, Part 6, and I said, well, Man Behind the Mask, what about the man behind the mask? What about Jason Voorhees, the character behind the mask? That was actually scarier than what was in front of the mask. What was behind the mask was what was really terrifying. And or any song that was intentionally written to be scary. I Love the Dead. I kind of said, I want to write an Edgar Allan Poe piece, something that's poetic and yet just terrifying at the same time. So I mean, those are very intentional pieces.
I've always wondered, like, I would love to hear the backstory of Boris the Spider.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because it's just such a strange little, I mean.
Entwistle was that, Entwistle was this sort of dark character that he never talked and anything. But, if you ask Pete Townsend who the craziest guy in the band was, he didn't say Keith Moon. He said John Entwistle.
Moose? Really?
Yes.
I never knew that. Really? Yeah. Yeah, it is so much fun. Halloween, especially here in the Motor City, as you well know. And again, the Halloween special you can broadcast. And I'll be sitting in the garage handing out candy from 6 feet away. We'll put the table out there. I'll be throwing the kids the candy.
Hey, what? Let me tell you something. When we were kids, and I think you were probably the same thing. We lived, in the suburbs in East Detroit by Eastland Shopping Center on Lincoln Drive by Kelly. And every street was a different nationality. One street was Italian, one street was Irish, one street was Jewish, the whole thing. And the idea was to get as much candy as possible. Right, it wasn't about scaring anybody. It was all about how much candy can you accumulate in a grocery bag. Well, our idea was you go ahead, you give that grocery bag to your parents, and they're going to dole it out during the year, right? But there's another bag of candy that's stashed away.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go through it before you get home and put the good stuff in the other bag and stash that away, so you always have your candy stash. It was our first introduction into drugs somehow.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you think about it. My dad didn't know that I got Snickers bars till I was 13. I mean, those got hit, and there's no way I'm not letting them get those.
First of all, they'll eat those. You gotta. Parents are gonna eat your candy.
But under the umbrella of I'm looking out for you. That one doesn't. That looks kind of.
I wouldn't eat that one if I were you. Too sophisticated for you.
So what are you handing out for Halloween this year?
Well, for one thing, I've got 4 grandkids now. And this is the first time I've ever been home for Halloween for my grandkids. I've got twin boys, Falcon and Riot, are 6 years old. So how much fun is that going to be for me to be able to go out on Halloween with my grandsons? You know, the other ones are a little bit too small, but these 2 are going to be fun to hang with. You know, I don't know what they're going as yet. They won't tell me, but believe me, I'll be out on the street with them.
Are you going to go? Are you just going to be Grandpa Alice Cooper? You gonna put the gear on? What are you going to do?
But one year I went as Michael Myers, the full thing, you know,
Okay.
The mask, the William Shatner mask. And what would happen was the kids would run up to the door and I would stand there on the sidewalk, right? Staring at the house. And then the kids would run away and I would just stand there at the house, staring at the house. And then other kids would come up and the parents would look out and that guy's still standing there and they would go away. And then, but I'd stand there for 20 minutes. And in my pocket, I had a little tape recorder of dun 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 dun, you know, the theme. And pretty soon they were like calling the police going, you know, really outside the house.
Crazy guy in front of my house. What is he doing?
And then they take the mask off and it's Alice Cooper. It's even scarier.
Well, this year it'd be even scarier if you dressed up as one of the Tiger King characters. That would be.
Well, yeah, that's it. In fact, one of the great moments I think coming up tomorrow night is Ghost Adventures are going to be at Tiger King's, you know, tiger thing out there, his farm or whatever they called it.
Right,
you know,
yeah, the zoo, the loosely the zoo.
What a great combination! The Ghost Adventures and the tiger thing combined. So that's either going to be very funny or really scary.
It'll be another Geraldo's Vault kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it could go either way.
Thanks, we know that one.
Maybe they'll find her husband.
Okay, or some tiger with a toothpick going. Yeah, I know him.
Oh yeah.
I know a little bit of him. What was Carol Baskin's husband like? He's all right. He's okay.
You're better on the left side. Yeah.
So, as many songs as you've done, and you love Halloween, and again, I keep coming back to, we're going to broadcast your Halloween special. We're pumped about it at CSX. For you, is there a movie that just still freaks you out? For me, it was Motel Hell. Do you remember that one where they buried him in the back?
Absolutely.
And it was magic that with that damn dummy of his and Anthony Hopkins. Those are 2 movies that I don't want to watch again. I don't like talking about them. They freaked the shit out of me when I was.
I've got 2 good ones for you.
Okay.
First one is Suspiria. Dario Argento's Suspiria, not the remake, the original Suspiria, about 1970 something. I don't know what it was. If you get the original one, it's really creepy, really creepy. The number 1 is Salem's Lot. James Mason, David Soul. If there's about 6 or 7 scenes in this movie, Tobe Hooper directed it, of course, written by Stephen King.
Yeah.
But probably the best Stephen King movie, because it was truly frightening. When you finally do see Mr. Barlow, who is the vampire, he comes up on the screen and I tell you, it takes your breath away. Literally takes your breath away. It's the most terrifying character you'll ever see in your life. So Salem's Lot is my favorite horror movie.
Okay. Now, last question for you. And again, thanks for all the time today. And we're looking forward to Saturday night. We'll all be listening. I have a theory that growing up, there was one house in every neighborhood that freaked somebody out that you wouldn't go to on Halloween, and you created stories about. We had one where we were convinced they were a biker gang. They had killed 6 people. It was just a guy with a broken hip who didn't come to the door one year.
Right.
Did you have something like that here in Detroit?
Yeah, it happened to be our house.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it happened to be. We had this old gray house that stood in 2 stories, kind of like Victorian kind of looking house. And the person that lived there, the old lady, died in the attic. And we didn't know that till later on, but it was the house everybody kind of took 2 steps to the left when they passed it. And we moved in there not knowing anything about this. And my sister and I used to have nightmares about this all the time, that we'd go into the attic and you would see her hand, like, in one of the drawers or something like that. So it was our house, and the house was painted gray. And it was, We actually lived in that house.
Did she ever communicate with you? Did you ever have a sense of maybe there's something going on there?
No, but there is a great story though. Joe Perry and I were writing songs for this movie, and we went to this house in Copeg, New York, that belonged to Shep Gordon, my manager. That if you were going to find a house to do a horror movie, and it would be this house. And all day I would put something down, I'd walk away, and it was gone. And I'd go back in the kitchen, and what I was doing in there was different all day. And same with Joe. That night we're sitting at dinner, we're trying to write songs, and it sounds like, you don't hear a little bump. It sounds like somebody's moving furniture in the basement. It's like not being subtle at all. And unlike the movies, we didn't say, let's go find a flashlight and see what's down there. We were out of there that night. I called up Shep and I said, Shep, it's about your house in Copeg. And he says, oh yeah, they wrote the Amityville Horror there. And I went, and you were going to tell me when?
Really? You buried the lead, Shep. How come he's not telling you that?
No, I think he didn't want to freak us out because it was going to be a place we could write, But I mean, the house was alive. The house was definitely alive.
You still get kind of weirded out even talking about it?
The house isn't even there anymore. It's gone. I think somebody probably burned it down and covered salt on the earth there. But it was that house was alive. He said one time his mother was having dinner there with a party, and the entire dining room table moved a foot to the right. Well, they were all sitting there.
Seriously?
Yeah.
We found a place. If you ever wanted to look up something, we found one here in the Motor City called the Bruce Mansion. It's in Brown City. It's been there since the 1800s. It burned down, and the only house standing was this one.
Oh,
and
boy.
we took ghost people out there, and this is a true story. We took them out there. The ghost people left the house with our producer, Ryan, and they said, nope, we're never coming back here. The ghosts want to be here. We're done. We're out.
Wow.
They were like, nope, we're not doing it.
Whatever in there is encamped in there. So yeah, probably demonic if it was that.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff, dude. Hey, last question real quick. We got the Halloween special, obviously Saturday night. It's going to be here on CSX starting at 6 p.m. till 11. And thanks again so much for creating this amazing content. It is the perfect soundtrack for Halloween here in the Motor City. I want to go back to Glen Fry though, and the Subterraneans and stuff. Did you ever cross paths with Glenn back in the day?
No, not in Detroit, but later on. Later on, in fact, I played golf with him at tournaments all the time. He was an avid golfer like I was, but we knew that we had Detroit roots together. Yeah. In fact, my next album that's coming out is called Detroit Stories, and it's all about Detroit, and it's all Detroit players, and it's the drummer from Mitch Ryder, Johnny B, Wayne Kramer on guitar. I got all those guys on it, and it's all about Detroit, and it's and all the players, all the singers, all the horns, everything are all, and we recorded it in Royal Oak.
Really? Okay.
So it's a tribute to Detroit. Yeah.
Well, I remember you gave us East Side Story, and it's not that I don't believe you, but when you told me you'd never heard that song and you laid it down that way, come on, you had to have known about that song because you nailed it.
I saw a video of him doing it on a Canadian rock show when he was really young. Had to be one of his first songs. It was before any of his hits, I'm pretty sure. Right. We took the song and said, well, we could modernize this and make it a better story, where the guy, the kid actually comes alive, this kid, and did a little more rock version of it. But the Breadcrumbs was basically leading up to the Detroit Stories album. It was just sort of, here's the breadcrumbs, follow them, and they'll take you to the next album.
That's fantastic. The next singer song I want you to cover is Rosalie, in honor of Rosalie Tremblay.
Oh, Rosalie, without Rosalie, we didn't have 18. She was one that broke 18 on CKLW. I mean, that was our big, that was our first hit. And if you got on CKLW, that was the big deal. And her son loved the song. And so she put it on Pick Hit, and then it became a huge hit. But that's how Alice Cooper actually got their jump, was 18. Rosalie.
That's fantastic. One of the most underappreciated and amazing people in the history of rock music is Rosalie.
Yeah. She was an amazing, amazing lady. And the other one is Get Out of Denver. I think Get Out of Denver, I'd like to see him do that in one breath. That is possible.
All about hippies and drugs. Alice Cooper, the special at Saturday night here on CSX, and everything you're doing. Hey, North Star Ranch, by the way, you did the fundraiser on the 21st. Thumbs up on you, man. That was very cool what you did.
Yeah, and it was really neat. Anytime you can get a kid into a place that he can't get into because of finances or whatever it is, heck yeah, we'll do that anytime.
And we're going to make our road trip down to Winslow. I promise. We'll do it in the spring, and we'll come calling. Okay.
You got to bring a flatbed truck though, and look for that girl. That's
what if I get an F-250 Tremor? Is that cool enough? Would that be cool enough for you? I mean,
hey, I'm driving a Hellcat.
Okay. I got to show up with something legit. I can't just show up like in a Peter. You're Alice Cooper. I got to have something cool if I'm going to drive all the way down.
Horsepower, yeah.
Okay, you the man. Alice, thank you so much for the time. You be well. So give your best to family. Happy Halloween.
All right. How about those Lions?
Hey, man. 2 in a row. How about that? We're going to the Super Bowl.
3.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye.